Fear is a prison, one that doesn't need walls, locks, or guards. It keeps you trapped, not with iron bars, but with self-doubt, hesitation, and worst of all, regret. It's a silent force whispering in your ear, convincing you that you're not ready, not good enough, or that failure is inevitable. But let me ask you, how many opportunities have you let slip away because of fear? How many dreams have you buried under the weight of what if? Fear makes you overthink every decision, turning possibilities into threats and challenges into insurmountable obstacles. It tells you to play it safe, to stay in your comfort zone, to avoid risks at all costs. But what it doesn't tell you is that playing it safe often means sacrificing the life you truly want. Fear is not just an emotion, it's a thief. It steals your confidence, your growth, and your future. But what if I told you that fear isn't something to run from, but something to master? That the key to freedom isn't in avoiding fear, but in confronting it? The world can be unpredictable, harsh, and sometimes even cruel, but the real battle isn't out there, it's within you. The moment you stop fearing fear itself is the moment you reclaim your power. This is not just about being fearless, it's about taking control of your mind, your emotions, and ultimately your life. Imagine a life where fear no longer dictates your decisions, where you step forward boldly, knowing that discomfort is simply the price of growth. That life is possible, but only if you're willing to face what scares you. Are you ready to break the chains? Understanding the roots of fear, why we feel trapped. Before we can overcome fear, we must understand where it comes from. Fear is one of the oldest emotions hardwired into our brains. It's not just a feeling, it's a survival mechanism. Thousands of years ago, fear kept our ancestors alive, helping them avoid predators, dangerous environments, and life-threatening situations. If you saw a tiger in the wild, fear would flood your body with adrenaline, preparing you to fight or flee. Back then, this response was essential. Fear meant survival. But today, we don't live in the wild. We don't have to run from tigers, yet our brains still react as if we do. Instead of physical threats, we fear failure. We fear rejection. We fear judgment. We fear stepping out of our comfort zones. And our minds treat these psychological fears as if they are just as dangerous as real, life-threatening situations. This is why your heart races before public speaking. It's why you hesitate to take risks. It's why you avoid situations that make you uncomfortable. But here's where fear becomes a trap. Most of our fears today are not based on reality. They are illusions, mental projections of what could happen. Your mind exaggerates worst-case scenarios, making them feel real. You might think, if I fail, I'll never recover. Or if they reject me, I'll be humiliated forever. But if you take a step back, you'll see that these fears are nothing more than stories your mind is telling you. They are not real dangers. And yet, fear convinces us otherwise. It tells us that stepping outside our comfort zones is unsafe. It convinces us that we should avoid risks, stay where we are, and never challenge the status quo. But what's the real danger here? The real danger is allowing fear to control you. The real danger is looking back years from now and realizing you never truly lived because you were too afraid to try. Think about how much fear has dictated your decisions in life. How many times have you held back from speaking your mind? How many opportunities have you missed because you were too afraid of failure? How many dreams have you put on hold because you let fear take the driver's seat? But here's the truth, you are not your fear. Fear is just a feeling. It's a thought, a reaction, something that exists in your mind but does not define you. And once you recognize that fear is only as powerful as you allow it to be, you begin to take control. You start to see fear for what it really is, a challenge to overcome, not a barrier to obey. So the question is, will you keep letting fear make your decisions for you? Or will you finally take back control and start living the life you were meant to live? Breaking free. How to stop letting fear control you. Fear is a powerful force. It seeps into your mind, shaping your thoughts, limiting your actions, and keeping you stuck in a cycle of hesitation. It convinces you that safety is more important than growth, that comfort is more valuable than experience. And before you know it, you're living half a life, avoiding risks, missing opportunities, and watching from the sidelines as others go after what they want. But what if you could break free? What if fear no longer dictated your choices? The truth is, fear only has power over you if you allow it to. Fear isn't some external force that holds you captive. It exists entirely within your mind. And because it's created in your mind, it can also be destroyed there. The question is, how do you take control? Step 1. Understand fear for what it really is. Most people think fear is a warning sign, an indication that something is dangerous, that you should turn back. But in reality, fear is often nothing more than a mental illusion. It's your brain's way of trying to protect you, even when no real danger exists. Your mind is wired for survival, not happiness, which means it constantly scans for threats, even imaginary ones. Think about it. How many times have you been afraid of something that never actually happened? Maybe you feared failing a test, but you passed. Maybe you were terrified of public speaking, but when you finally did it, nothing bad happened. Maybe you held yourself back from asking someone out because you feared rejection. Yet looking back, you realize it wasn't such a big deal after all. Fear feeds on uncertainty. It thrives when you don't have all the answers. But the moment you step into the unknown, the moment you face what you fear, its power begins to weaken. Step 2. Rewire your response to fear. Instead of running from fear, what if you leaned into it? What if, instead of seeing fear as a stop sign, you saw it as a challenge? Every time you feel afraid, it's an opportunity, a chance to grow stronger, to prove to yourself that fear doesn't define you. Think of it this way. If you're afraid of public speaking, the only way to overcome that fear is by speaking in public. If you're afraid of rejection, the only way to move past it is by putting yourself out there. If you're afraid of failure, the only way to grow is by trying, failing, and trying again. One of the most powerful techniques for rewiring your mind is gradual exposure. Instead of trying to conquer your fears all at once, start small. If social anxiety keeps you from speaking up, begin by making eye contact with people. If you fear failure, set a small goal that pushes you slightly outside your comfort zone. The more you expose yourself to fear, the less control it has over you. Step 3. Change the story you tell yourself. Fear is not just an emotion, it's a story. It's the story you tell yourself about what might happen if things go wrong. But just as you can tell yourself a negative story, you can also tell yourself a different one. Instead of saying, "I'm afraid I'll fail," tell yourself, "I am capable of handling any challenge that comes my way." Instead of thinking, "I'm not good enough," remind yourself, "I have strengths, and I am constantly improving." Instead of believing, "I can't do this," say, "I may not be ready now, but I can learn and grow." Your thoughts shape your reality. If you constantly tell yourself that fear is in control, you'll believe it. But if you start telling yourself a different story, one where you are strong, resilient, and capable, you'll begin to act in ways that reflect that belief. Step 4. Stop waiting for permission to be fearless. So many people let fear rule their lives because they are waiting for something, waiting for the right time, the right circumstances, the right level of confidence. But here's the truth. There will never be a perfect moment. There will never be a time when fear disappears completely. If you wait for fear to go away before taking action, you'll be waiting forever. Confidence doesn't come first, action does. And the more you take action, the more confident you become. Stop waiting for someone to tell you it's okay to chase your dreams. Stop waiting for the fear to subside before you start living the life you want. No one is coming to rescue you. No one is going to hand you courage. You have to take it for yourself. At the end of the day, fear is a test. It's asking you, are you going to let me control you, or are you going to take control? The choice is yours. Practical strategies to overcome fear and take control. Understanding fear is one thing, defeating it is another. Fear has a way of creeping back in, even when you think you've mastered it. That's because fear isn't just an emotion. It's a deeply ingrained survival mechanism that has been hardwired into our brains for thousands of years. While fear was once essential for survival, helping our ancestors avoid dangerous predators, today it often holds us back from growth, success, and the life we truly want to live. But here's the truth. Fear isn't something that needs to control you. You have the power to rewire how your brain responds to fear and anxiety. You can break free from the chains of doubt and hesitation that have held you back for so long. But to do that, you need more than just motivation. You need real, actionable tools that allow you to reprogram your mind for courage, confidence, and resilience. Here are 6 powerful strategies that will not only help you confront fear, but eliminate its control over your life once and for all. 1. Fear journaling. Expose the lies of fear. Fear thrives in the dark. It whispers worst-case scenarios into your mind, convincing you that danger is lurking around every corner. But when you bring fear into the light, when you put it on paper and analyze it, it starts to lose its power over you. Here's how fear journaling works. Get a notebook and write down the things you're afraid of. Be specific. Then, ask yourself these 3 critical questions. What is the absolute worst that could happen? How likely is it that this will actually happen? Even if it does happen, could I recover from it? 9 times out of 10, you'll realize that your fears are exaggerated or completely irrational. Even in cases where fear is somewhat justified, you'll begin to see that you're far more capable of handling challenges than you give yourself credit for. Writing down your fears gives you control over them rather than allowing them to control you. 2. The what if. Reframe, flip fear into power. Fear loves to ask negative what if questions. What if I fail? What if I embarrass myself? What if I'm not good enough? But what if you flip the script? Instead of using what if to imagine negative outcomes, use it to envision success. What if I succeed? What if this is the best decision I've ever made? What if I'm stronger than I think? The stories you tell yourself shape your reality. Feed your mind with thoughts of courage instead of fear. 3. The 5-second rule. Take action before fear stops you. Fear grows when you hesitate. The longer you wait, the stronger fear becomes. That's why taking immediate action is one of the best ways to beat fear. A simple trick? The 5-second rule. Count backward from 5 and then go. If you're overthinking before speaking up in a meeting, before sending a message, before stepping outside of your comfort zone, don't give fear time to take over. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Act. The moment you physically move, fear loses its grip. 4. Exposure therapy. Face small fears daily. Fear shrinks when you expose yourself to it repeatedly. The more you avoid something, the more powerful the fear becomes. But the moment you start facing it, even in small doses, your brain learns that there is nothing to be afraid of. You don't have to dive into your biggest fears right away. Start small. If you have social anxiety, challenge yourself to make small talk with a stranger. If you're afraid of public speaking, record a short video of yourself. If you fear rejection, set a goal to get 5 rejections this week, applying for jobs, reaching out to people, asking for discounts. The goal? Teach your brain that fear doesn't lead to disaster, it leads to growth. 5. Train your mind like an athlete, daily mental conditioning. Elite athletes don't just train their bodies, they train their minds. They use visualization, affirmations, and mental conditioning to prepare for high-pressure moments. You can do the same. Affirmations. Speak powerful truths to yourself every morning. I am stronger than my fears. I take action despite discomfort. I am in control of my life. Visualization. Before facing a fear, close your eyes and see yourself succeeding. Picture yourself confident, composed, and victorious. Mindfulness and breath work. Fear hijacks your nervous system. Deep breathing can slow your heart rate and bring you back to control. Try the 4-7-8 breathing technique. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 7, exhale for 8. 6. The future self perspective. What will you regret more? Whenever fear holds you back, ask yourself, if I don't take action now, will I regret it in a year? 5 years? 10 years? Most of the time, the answer will be yes. Your future self is counting on you to be brave today. If you let fear win now, you'll wake up years later wondering what could have been. Will you regret failing? Maybe. But will you regret never trying? Absolutely. Which regret would you rather live with? Final thought. You are stronger than your fears. Fear is not something to eliminate, it's something to master. The goal isn't to be fearless, it's to be brave. And bravery doesn't mean the absence of fear, it means taking action despite it. The more you train yourself to act despite fear, the more unstoppable you become. Because in the end, fear is nothing but a shadow, and the only way to defeat it is to step into the light. Building a fearless mindset for life. Overcoming fear isn't a one-time event, it's a lifelong practice. Fear will always try to creep back in, whether it's fear of failure, rejection, uncertainty, or even success. But the difference between people who thrive and those who stay stuck is simple. The people who thrive refuse to let fear make their decisions for them. They don't wait to feel confident. They don't wait for the perfect moment. They don't wait for fear to disappear. They act. This is where most people go wrong. They believe courage is something you're born with, but in reality, courage is something you build. Every time you take action in the face of fear, you strengthen your mental muscles. You become the type of person who doesn't let fear hold them back. Think about the most courageous people in history. Great leaders, revolutionaries, pioneers. Do you think they were free from fear? Of course not. They felt the same fear you do, but they moved forward anyway. The difference was in their mindset. They didn't see fear as a stop sign, but rather as a challenge to overcome. The key to long-term fear mastery: conditioning. If you want to rewire your brain for permanent courage, you need to train your mind the same way you would train your body. Just like going to the gym builds muscle, consistently facing your fears builds mental strength. But here's the catch: most people try to defeat fear in one big step. They think they need to make some grand, dramatic move to overcome it. That's not how fear works. It's not about making one giant leap. It's about taking small, daily steps that slowly but surely make you stronger. Here's how you condition your mind to be fearless. Challenge yourself daily. Each day, do one small thing that pushes you outside your comfort zone. It could be something as simple as starting a conversation with a stranger, sharing your opinion in a meeting, or trying something new. Every step, no matter how small, weakens fear's grip. Surround yourself with brave people. Fear is contagious, but so is courage. If you spend time around people who constantly avoid challenges, you'll adopt the same habits. But if you surround yourself with those who take risks, push boundaries, and embrace discomfort, you'll start doing the same. Reframe your fears. Instead of seeing fear as an enemy, treat it as a teacher. Ask yourself, what is this fear trying to show me? What lesson is hidden inside this discomfort? More often than not, fear points toward areas of growth. The things that scare us most are often the things we need to do to become stronger. Celebrate small wins. Every time you do something you were afraid of, acknowledge it. Confidence grows when you recognize your progress. Most people focus too much on what they haven't achieved yet, instead of celebrating how far they've already come. The more you appreciate your small victories, the more motivated you'll be to keep going. Adopt a long-term perspective. Fear often tricks us into thinking that the worst-case scenario will ruin us. But take a moment to ask yourself, will this matter a year from now? 5 years from now? 10 years from now? Most of the things we fear today will be completely irrelevant in the future. Understanding this can help you take action despite your worries. Fear doesn't disappear, but you can rise above it. Many people wait for fear to vanish before taking action. But the truth is, fear never fully disappears. Even the most successful, confident people in the world experience fear. The difference is, they don't let it stop them. And neither should you. Fear is simply a test of whether you will let it dictate your life or whether you will take charge. When you see fear for what it really is, an illusion, a mental trick, a barrier designed to keep you from evolving, you gain power over it. Now, think about all the things you've wanted to do in life, but didn't because of fear. The opportunities you let slip away. The dreams you put on hold. The relationships you never pursued. The risks you avoided. How much of your life has been shaped by fear instead of your true desires? The reality is, you have two choices. Keep letting fear control you. Keep missing out on life. Keep shrinking into the shadows. Take control, face your fears head-on, and live a life of confidence, power, and freedom. Which will you choose? Because once you stop letting fear control you, there is no limit to what you can achieve. Stepping into a fearless life. The moment you stop letting fear dictate your choices is the moment you take control of your life. Imagine waking up in the morning with a mind free from hesitation, free from the endless cycle of self-doubt. No more overthinking every decision, no more anxiety about the future, no more holding yourself back from opportunities simply because they feel uncertain. That version of you already exists. It's not some distant dream or an impossible transformation. It's right there, beneath the layers of fear, hesitation, and self-imposed limitations. But to become that person, you have to make a decision. Are you going to live a life ruled by fear, or are you going to break free? It's easy to assume that one day, things will change. That somehow, fear will disappear on its own. That confidence will magically appear when you need it. But here's the truth. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to hold your hand and pull you out of the darkness. No one will remove your fear for you. No one will guarantee that life will be safe, easy, or predictable. If you wait for the perfect moment to be fearless, you'll wait forever. So you have two choices. You can continue allowing fear to control your thoughts, your actions, and your future. You can keep avoiding challenges, letting anxiety make decisions for you, and watching opportunities slip away. Or, you can decide right now that fear no longer gets to rule your life. Because fear only has power over you when you let it. The moment you challenge it, the moment you push through it, you take back control. Every step forward weakens fear's grip on you. The fearless mindset. Let's be clear, fear doesn't disappear overnight. It will still try to creep in, whispering doubts in your mind, convincing you that you're not ready, that you're not strong enough. But now you know the truth. Fear is not a stop sign. It's a signal that you're stepping outside your comfort zone, and that's where real growth happens. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you build by taking action despite fear. The life you want, the experiences you crave, the success you dream of, it's all waiting for you on the other side of discomfort. So don't wait for the fear to disappear before you take action. Take action, and the fear will disappear. Start small if you need to, but start today. Speak up when you feel like staying silent. Step forward when you feel like backing down. Try, even when you're afraid to fail. Because the moment you do, you'll realize something incredible. You were never actually afraid. You were just waiting for permission to be fearless. And now, you don't need permission anymore. You're ready. If this message resonated with you, if you've ever felt trapped by fear, uncertainty, or self-doubt, then now is the time to break free. No more waiting. No more hesitating. No more living small. Here's the truth. You are capable of more than you realize. The only thing standing between you and the life you want is fear, but you now know how to face it, how to rise above it, and how to take back control. But this journey isn't meant to be walked alone. That's why we're here to grow, to challenge ourselves, and to break through the limits that have held us back for too long. So if you're ready to transform your mindset, if you're ready to build unstoppable confidence, and if you're ready to take control of your life, then hit that subscribe button now. This channel is here to guide you with powerful insights, deep psychological wisdom, and the tools to help you break free from fear. Subscribe now and join a community of fearless minds. Turn on notifications so you never miss a lesson that could change your life. Leave a comment. What fear are you ready to conquer today? Your transformation starts now. Let's make it happen together.